share your background?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Badrinath, for joining in for today's session. Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to today's session on emotional intelligence for hybrid teams, hosted by Skillemme. So, at Skillemme, we believe in transforming talent through impactful learning solutions that bridge academic, professional, and corporate worlds. Our focus is on delivering high quality, future ready training programs so that help individuals and organizations thrive in a rapidly changing environment. We are delighted to have with us today Dr. Badrinath, a seasoned L&D expert with over 35 years of experience across industries like IT, BFSI, healthcare, manufacturing, and telecom. He has worked with more than 100 leading organizations, including Wipro, Accenture, SAP, Oracle, Axis Bank, Mahindra, Ericsson, and so on and so forth. So his expertise spans leadership development, behavioral skill, sales excellence, and communication. And he is also a Dale Carnegie certified in high impact presentations. With his deep industry knowledge, academic credentials, and passion for people development, Dr. Badrinath brings unique insights into building emotionally intelligent hybrid teams. So we are privileged to have him lead this session for us today. So yeah, thank you, Dr. Badrinath. So over to you. We can get
Thank you,
started.
Badal. It's nice to be a part of Skillme. And of course, welcome to all the participants here today. Now, it's been quite of a interesting thing. Like AI is being talked about from a long time, but hardly we have made any progress in terms of understanding it. That's how I would see it. That's how things are at the moment. So we also would like to look at few things as far as our own things are concerned in terms of our corporate life, our organization, and also our personal approach to life. Now, how is AI going to really make a difference to us and different to our existence? And please, I would request people to switch on the camera if they can do it. That would be great, so that interaction becomes very easy. And especially AI, talking about AI, especially given a virtual environment, having a connect over virtual is very, very important, not just about audio, it's also about video. So please request you to get on your cameras if you can do that. Now, what are we going to do about today? What is that we're going to learn and what is that we're going to talk about? Now, the question I would like to pose you is, now, do you find in your organization, with your role, do you feel your conversation are strained when you're talking to people, when you're having conversation, maybe above you, below you, to your colleagues, to your counterparts? How do you think? How are your conversations? And is it strained? How many of you would like to answer that? You can go ahead and tell me now. Suruchi, Teshan, Raza. Yeah. Not that I'm going to give you some time to introduce yourself, but yes, we'll start here and then we could look at introduction to some extent. Yes, what do you think? Suruchi, Patel, Teshan, are your conversations trained between your peers, between seniors and your juniors, team members? If the answer is yes, sometimes yes, Patil says sometimes it does become kind of strained. And of course, do you repeatedly blame others when projects don't go as planned? Because this is something which we end up seeing every day, because not everything is going as per the plan, because a lot of independent variables, a lot of dependent variables coming into our system where our scope and our span of understanding variables is very, very limited. Whatever little we are looking at seems to be not actually making an impact at that moment of time. So unnecessary challenge. That's the reason why we have something called the VUCA world. And looking at that, I'm sure, how do you react to it? Do you literally end up blaming others, or what do you go about doing it? Yes. Raza, if you can interact, nothing like it. Now, if the answer is yes or no, that's fine. And nevertheless, these are typical syndromes which we end up seeing in our day-to-day life, in organization, also in personal life, though. And now let's look at, are you prone to outburst? How do you actually react to things? Do you suddenly flare up, shout, give it a shout, and come back and later on say, okay, that's how it's got to be done? Or are you one of those leaders who believe that shouting can really make things work? A fear can actually make things work, because I've seen many leaders or many institutions or organization where fear is all the major key. Fear is the only instrument which they end up using to facilitate a lot of things. Now, with those scenario, if your answer has been sometimes, maybe more often, yes, I think that's where we are in the right session, where we are looking at emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, something which we need to look for and understand in much, much deeper format. Because it's not just as simple as saying I am emotionally intelligent, but nevertheless, the question is being aware, what next? And those are the big questions which we need to answer today. And that's how we're going to be more EQ or EI prone. Let's look at few things. And now I would like to play a small movie. Before that, what are we going to understand today? We are going to understand this. We're going to, our objective is be talking about few of the triggers which end up coming in and how do we respond. And also, how do you talk about empathy in virtual communication? Because today, more often not, we are forced to look at communicating virtually. That's what our trend today is. That's what our new way of life is. And also, how do I, as a leader, progress on EI and EQ, and how what are the kind of things I could do to make it happen? Let's look at that. Today, I'm playing a movie, small me. I want you to observe that and let me know how you feel about it. Just give me a hands up if you're able to get the volume, if the audio is on. Thank you. Yeah. What did you understand? Rahul, Raza, Suruchi Patil. Yeah. Rahul, are you there?
Hey, yeah, I'm there. I'm sorry, I joined a bit
It's
late,
okay.
so yeah.
Whatever little you saw, how do you? What is your feeling?
Uh, what I could understand is, I mean, a lot of each people have their own challenges. Like someone is recovering from some prolonged illness,
Hmm.
and I mean that's what I mean. I catched up the video in between, so I didn't
Right, right.
look at from the start. But still, there everyone is trying to hold on to the fort and continuing understand each other's. And
Hmm.
that's what I could make
Okay,
out
the
of
last
whatever I
three
could see.
statements which came in on the screen, what do you think about that?
I'm sorry, I didn't pay that attention. My
No,
bad.
if you could see what they see, if you could feel what they feel, you could
Yeah,
hear what they,
feel the
would you do
Empathy.
it differently?
Empathy, I think, Mr. Patinath.
Empathy, is it?
What
Okay.
I felt is so everybody has their own challenges, facing their own demons and fighting their own battles.
Mm,
But since you mentioned the last point, so if we can feel what they feel, I think we can empathize with them and deal with people more
mm.
empathetically. That's what I could understand.
Okay, fine. Yes. Raza, are you there? Teshin, Raza. I don't know if I'm saying it
Yes,
right.
and
Yeah. What do you think? What is your take?
yeah, it's the same thing that everybody has their own challenges, everybody has their own problems that they are dealing with,
Hmm.
which probably to others are unknown. So you cannot ever judge someone from internally what they are going through. So just be empathetic to them and probably be more open to their emotions. That's what I
Yeah.
think.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Raza. Now, with that perspective, now Patil was mentioning something called empathy. I really don't know what it is now. But let me understand, what do you feel emotional intelligence all about? What do you think? What is your take on emotional? How do you actually define it? What do you think is emotional intelligence? Because this has been something which has been talked about. I'm sure that being in this space the way you are in. Earlier we talked about IQ being very important. Then we suddenly said EQ is very important or EI is very important. Now I'm sure we have something called the SQ, but today the session is all about EQ and EI. So if you are looking at it, what is this EI all about? What is this emotional intelligence? How do you actually describe it? Yes, Rahul.
Emotional intelligence, I would say maybe ability to assess or evaluate situation from others' perspective.
Mm,
Also, ability of yourself to control your response to any situation. Looking from all aspects,
good.
from others, putting yourself in others' person's shoes as well, and then assessing the situation holistically, and then keeping a control on your emotions as well, because it's very
Sure.
easy to react to a situation. uh,
Mm,
you may not like someone else the
right.
way someone kind of sent you an email maybe, but then
Mm,
you need to think from overall perspective, understand that person's perspective, where that email is coming from, and then try to control your emotions and
sure.
react in a very matured way to the situation. I mean,
Sure.
showing that kind of maturity.
Great. Nice way of describing what EKI, emotional intelligence is. Rizal, you want to add something here, or you want to have your own perspective? What do you think?
No, I think emotional intelligence is to first understand your own emotions when they're coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So just at the point when you're getting triggered for something, for example, an anger or jealousy
Mm,
or any specific thing like that, it might happen in a business meeting, in a professional environment, or even in
right.
a personal life. Just hold yourself back and think that why are you feeling that emotion? What is that emotion all about? Is
Right.
it because of some internal weakness that is there, or you're reflecting onto something, or you're
Mm,
correlating that emotion with something that has happened in your own life or in your own experience? And then think about that, and then before you respond. So what I
sure.
think emotional intelligence is about to first identify why are you feeling that emotion, try
Mm-hmm.
to bifurcate that, try to understand that before you respond.
Is it very difficult, Raza?
it is more of a practicing situation. So I think people who are married over here, and especially who have kids and who have teenage kids,
Hmm.
they can much understand that the triggers can be pulled easily,
Hmm.
but how you respond is a choice that you have. And in order to respond, you are responding directly by a reflex action using your
Right.
amygdala, or you are waiting, you are trying to process it, take it to your forehead that
Hmm.
okay, this is not the problem, why I'm feeling that this, it's okay. Try
Sure.
to bifurcate that and then to provide both with the response. That is, I think, what is more important.
Sure. Thank you, Raza. Now that you have given me a kind of a definition, now let's look at simplifying it. So here I say it, emotional intelligence, basically there are three things. One, we need to understand is recognize, understand, and manage. So recognize, understand, and manage. These are three important things, which is very important as a component of EI. Now, as Raza was mentioning and Rahul was mentioning, so now imagine we seem to kind of identify, feel the emotion. It's very, very normal. You get to feel. But again, the next thing is, are we able to understand why? What is it? What is the exact feeling I'm going through? Because recognizing is something I'm saying I'm angry, I'm happy, I'm sad. You have a broad terminology being used, but we are not able to get deeper into it. And that's where we are not able to really get into the part of what is the trigger, why am I doing it, what is that I need to talk about. This is the bigger picture which we need to understand. And I'm sure all of us with experience will come to that point where we are able to kind of relate ourselves with uh, doing a good job on recognizing and understanding. Now, managing, it's not just about managing oneself, it's also managing other emotions also. Now, this is where our role ability is, and I'm sure everyone who has gone through the ladder of the corporate would have said that the manager seems to be good when he's talking one-on-one, but when it comes to a group, when it comes to activity, he doesn't seem to be really doing what I think he should be doing. This kind of a gap is created. Am I right, Reza? Raza and Rahul, do you agree on that? What I'm saying? Because we have all gone through the stage where as a frontliner I feel enamored. My manager is a role model. I really look up to him. One on one I have a discussion. I aspire to be like him. But sometimes when I look at his behavior in a team, in a group, in a bigger level, I see there's a lot of disconnect. There's a lot of challenge. We say, how did he do it? Why did he do it at all? Thank you, Raza. So that really brings on to the point of, are we able to understand these three things? One, recognize, understand, and manage. Now, this is something where this kind of concept came into being. It was somewhere in the 90s where Daniel Goldman got back into this particular, rather he popularized this particular concept of EQ and EI or empathy per se. Now, he said there are four elements to it basically. One is self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. So I say, first thing is understand, recognize. That's where you are looking at your self-awareness. So your self-awareness is all about understanding, recognizing. How you manage this comes to your self-management. This is what it is. Now you're doing it for yourself, doing it for others, the same thing. Are you able to understand and recognize other person's emotion? Now, this is where our challenges are. And especially with the corporate, man, I don't know. I need to ask you a question. Does the corporate believe in being emotional or being practical or logical? What do you think? What is your experience say?
I think practical and logical would be.
Yeah. Okay. What is Rahul saying? What is Raja saying? What do you think?
I would say that within a corporate setup, emotional intelligence is defined by leaders. So, uh, someone who has to be in a leadership position needs to be high on emotional intelligence. More
Hmm.
than IQ, I think it's important how he handles his emotions.
Hmm.
But from a corporate setup, you also need to understand that logic and always prevails. Practicality, logic, that prevails.
Hmm.
So, if you get emotional in making decisions, then probably that won't be the best policy.
Okay. Now that's a very interesting word and interesting concept you talked about. Is there's a very strong belief in the corporate world in the organization where we say being emotional is not good for business. And that's what we talk about. But if you look at any organization, the existence started of being emotional because they went out to say that I see a customer, I see him having a challenges, I want to solve the challenge. So if you look at the undercurrent, the lining of why the existence happened was emotional. Am I right in saying that? Rahul, what do you think? Patil, Raza?
Yeah, yeah, not all decisions can be just thought
Huh.
like be taken from
So,
emotion perspective. But here the emotional intelligence is not just being emotional, but it's more about awareness, and then it plays a very important role. Now, any team coach or team leadership training you go, emotional intelligence will always be one of the topic as part of the training.
right,
I have
right,
attended few leadership trainings, and
right,
this quadrant is familiar to me. I mean, this was again told because
right.
this helps you as a leader to understand and be
Hmm.
empathic to other your team members, and then accordingly try and coach them and see how
Hmm.
you can resolve. But yeah, I mean, the other perspective of just not being emotional is more from, like, say, sometimes you have to be tough to take some tough decisions, so that is a
Okay.
separate topic altogether.
Sure, sure. Good. Thank you, Rahul. So the thought which I want you to think over is again the question which we are really debating on, and everything. Every corporate is kind of, should I say, a culture is created. Like Raza said, it's all about the leadership. It's leadership, the kind of culture he defines. Is it going to be something with a lot of EQ, or is it something which is going to be more of, say, logic and should I say, practicality? The kind of label we have given now. I don't want to get biased here. I don't want to give you an impression saying that the labels are not the exact thing, because the way we are perceiving it is always very different. But given that scenario, the reason why I'm trying to say is we have also have some studies done by Harvard, and where they have realized a big, a high EQ person will actually deliver more, and a team having a good EQ leader can actually be more productive. And me doing my doctoral in the same space, I'm telling you, I have found the same results. So I'm also working on spiritual quotient. That's another thing. But yes, but if you look at EQ, yes, it's impacts directly on your productivity. It also impacts directly on your engagement. Now, given these facts of what the research is saying and what we have got to prove, how is that the organization are not able to really work on that particular element, make it a part of a culture where we are always driven to numbers, logics, practicality. In the name of, we tend to say we have, let's be very practical. But this is the kind of statement we end up giving. So I would want to say that leaders, it's time you really look deep into this concept, understand we are not talking about being emotion wherein it's not logical. Even emotion is logical. If you look at the reasons why you are emoting, why, what triggers you, that makes it logical. So it's something like the spear, we don't want to touch that, because it's very hard to really go on analyzing oneself and looking at yourself in the mirror and say, this is me, this is what I feel. That really gets more of you. So which means that we are stopping somewhere and trying to park it with a different label, and we are trying to escape something. So this is what my opinion is, and I don't know how you would react to that. But yes, when you go deeper, everything is basically motion. And even that sense of practicality or data or logic is still emotional driven. Now, with that perspective, as we said, first is to recognize, second is to understand, third is to manage. Now, let's look at how good are we to recognize. So I'm just putting up a state of why EQ is very, very important. One, it is all about self-awareness. If you're able to go into this fact of understanding, recognizing, your awareness will becomes very, very, and I keep saying this with across people and across sessions wherever we talk about it. See, we are all in the same system, the sphere we are in, the kind of system we are in. The variables which are acting on us are very, very similar to everyone. We don't have much of a difference in the variables. So which means more often not, our reactions are very, very similar. Our orientations are very, very similar. I mean, I could say largely we are of the same kind. So which means that if I could understand myself, understanding other becomes very easy. So self-awareness is very, very important, and high EQ can actually develop that. Empathy, which Patil did talk about in the beginning, saying empathy is where you are able to feel the other person, like the way I put it on the video. Can you hear? Can you see? Can you feel? This empathy is what it is all about. Of course, once you are able to recognize these things, obviously your response to people, your communication will take a different paradigm. It will be a different level altogether. And of course, conflicts are very few, because you need to understand everyone here is to win-win. So conflicts are when someone is short-sighted. Otherwise, I think we always have a win-win situation. And especially in a corporate, in a culture where we are in a family, we are working as a family, having this orientation and having a high EQ will reduce our conflicts. And of course, decision making is very easy and it becomes easy for us. Adaptability is going to be another big feature, and team building, because today what we lack is team building and great teamwork. And I give this example. Even as a family, when you look at it, however good a parent you are, when you have two, three siblings, they always have a different opinion the way you behave. So it is something inherent. The design itself is like that. Now, can we minimize that? Can we do it better? So EQ can actually talk about making it happen for you in a better way. Now let's look at it. This is an emotion wheel which I want to present. I want you to describe present emotion. What do you have? Let's look at that. What is the present emotion? How do you describe your emotion now at this moment of time? Yes, Rahul. Yes, Raza, Patil, Suruchi, if you're there.
For me, it would be interest and anticipation.
Anticipation, interesting. Okay. Rahul, what about you? Raza?
Well, I don't know. Uh, Being human, these emotions coming to us are quite natural. Even when we are listening to you during your speech and during the discussion that we're having, and when I'm saying these words, somebody might be thinking, somebody might be having some of these emotions. Uh,
Right. We all have
Rather,
it. See, this is a shade which we all go
it's
through.
a natural process.
Today, this moment, what are the emotion? That's what my question is.
Uh, this moment, depending that how good a date that you had in the start, it depends on that. So I may have an emotion of admiration. I may
Mhm,
have an emotion of acceptance.
mhm,
Uh, Considering from the time that the session start till the time now, that emotion would have increased after listening some thoughts, after contributing some details. So yeah, so for now, I will say that this is it. These are the emotions that are happening right now that I can think of when I bifurcate it. But during the day, you never know. I might have some
Yeah,
anticipations.
yeah,
I might
that's fine. That's
have
very well, very well, very well. That's fair enough. Rahul, what about you? What's your emotion now? How do you define it?
Well, maybe at this moment, like maybe interested or curious to know more on the topic.
Okay, good. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Now, this is what I have tried to show you, that if see when we look at recognizing, or when we look at understanding, now broadly we know these big emotions, and that's what we are looking at. So basically, the eight emotions which we have: sadness, digness, anger, anticipation, joy, trust. If you look at the many shades to it, now that's where our capability, that's where our maturity comes in. So now, okay, Rahul, it's fine. I understand that. Okay. Now, if you look at these emotions and the shades of these emotions, that's where your ego is actually building up. And you're talking about, are you able to literally look at that shades of emotions coming in? Shades of emotion, and that will actually give you awareness, saying where's the trigger coming in, how intense is the trigger, how soft is the trigger, what we call about. Now, from there, we are actually graduating and navigating our emotions. Now, I just want to put up a poster here. These are few pictures of emotion. Now, how many do you recognize? Are you able to label these? We have seen it day in, day out. We have been seeing it now. But the fact is that, are we able to label it? For Raza?
well, the first on the top left, that's easy. That's like tired.
Mm-hmm.
The rightmost bottom is again easy. disgust or anger.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's surprise on the left, and happiness somewhere on the bottom left as well. So yeah, you
Yeah,
can put your own labels based on your own perspective
right.
to each of these phases.
Yeah. See, as I told you, as we define EI is basically recognizing and understanding. Now, what are we doing? We are trying to go back to our own experience. Say, when did I make this face? When did I actually go into this emotion? And what is that which actually made me go through that? So we are trying to look at a suitable label and trying to say this is what possibly could be. And there are times when you're also confused. Hey, I thought I was doing this at this point of time, but I was not feeling that. So these kind of conflicts do happen. That's where your maturity is all about. That's where your EQ is all about. How actually, how effectively are you able to actually pin that particular emotion? Say, since I've gone through this, I've seen so many people go through this emotion, and that's how they tend to react. I could possibly think this is what it is. So this is what we are all doing in a very blind manner, should I say, with the gut feel, which we are talking about. Gut feel is nothing but our experiences where data captured, recorded, and comes automatically with the process. That's how it is. So now if you look at it, basically, as we said in the first level also, now we are looking at basically 8 primary emotions. So the emotions which we are basically predominantly describing, exhibiting every time and everywhere is this: happiness, sadness, disgust, surprise, anger, shame, fear, and interest. Now, what I would want is, can you look at one example for each, one situation for each where you felt that? So this basically the idea is very simple. Now we are trying to understand what kind of triggers would actually give this particular feeling. What is that? Because we need to go deeper into understanding, because recognizing is very easy at times, but understanding becomes a challenge. And understanding is all about understanding what are the triggers, what are the variables involved in making that happen. So once you understand that, managing becomes easy, because you end up managing your variables, or your understanding the variables give you much more of less reactive nature. So that is what we are trying to do. Now, can you just look at these emotions, core emotions, and think about instances where you went through this? Yeah. Let me share one of mine. I'll start with anger. I've got my son who's just completed his engineering. Now he's done it. Finished it last October. He did it from MIT. Now he wanted to get into PhD, so he applied for a few institutions. Uh, with the Trump administration coming in, it's not very attractive. So he did get into one of the colleges, but we opted not to get into that. But nevertheless, now it's been almost 1.5 years now. I'm anxious about the fact that nothing is happening for him, and he's idle thinking, waiting for things to happen. So I'm angry with him. Whenever I have a discussion with him, I say, why are you not doing it? He say, I'm doing something. I'm just trying to. I say, shut up, man. You don't understand how it is. You can't sit idly. I get angry and we have a discussion. We have an argument. Now, this is something which happens. Now, another situation which I have in my corporate, of course, we are a bunch of trainers. We are working on a project. We are working on a module thing. Now, we have an idea where we said this is how we'd go about it. We come out with a layout. We talk about it. Suddenly, this colleague of mine, co-worker, suddenly comes with a crazy question, say, why this? Why can't I say, man, this is very simple. Why are you complicating it? I keep trying to say that make it simple, keep it simple, don't complicate it. No, no, no. She or he comes out with another dimension. No, this got to be, this is how it is. I get angry, I get frustrated. Yeah, you're not able to listen to me. You're not able to think simple. You're making it complicated, because at the end of the day, if you look at the practicality, implementation, it's to be as simple as things should be. So don't complicate it, because as it is, people are loaded with a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas. Now, making it more complicated is not taking them anywhere. So this is the example I would like to give of anger, where my hands are tied, I'm not able to do anything, and people not listening. It's your turn now.
For me, it's easy. Whenever I have good food, I'm happy.
Okay. But what exactly makes you, it's not just good food. Again, variation of good food is very, very limited.
The
And many,
taste, the quality, what suits me, what I like. again, that's it. So if there is a vegetable that I'm eating, probably I might not be very happy about it. I'll be just normal. But if I'm eating some good food, for example, good Chinese food, I would might be very astonished, very happy about it.
Good.
So again,
Nice.
like
Yeah.
good food will make you happy. Simple as that.
Good. Yes.
I
Thank
think
you.
there is one very important uh, emotion that is probably missing from this list. That
Which
is
is
the
that?
emotion of jealousy.
Jealousy. Okay.
I think when we are quite competitive and we are working in a competitive environment,
Right.
that professional jealousy and comes into play. Now
Envious.
it's a
So we
different,
have different shades. Jealousy, envious. Okay. Yeah.
yeah. Now
Common
it's a
time.
different thing that if it comes into a positive manner or a negative one,
Right.
like pulling down someone, trying to pull down someone, or trying to reach to a higher level than he is,
Right.
that's a separate discussion. But that is one very important aspect of emotion. So if I'm being honest over here, if
Right.
I see someone doing a very good work, I might feel a bit jealous that why could I be able to do that kind of activity?
Okay.
Or why couldn't I be able to give that kind of presentation or that kind of anything that's
Yeah.
related to it?
But your
Uh,
statement is not showing jealousy. Your
my state,
statement is not describing it as jealousy.
yeah, my statement won't describe the jealousy because it's up to me how I take that. If
Haha.
I take it as a challenge
Sure.
to come up to
So,
that far, or if I take it as a no, 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 he might have used Chat GPT for this thing or something like that.
hmm,
So it's up to me how I take it, how I
right.
bifurcate that
Yeah,
emotion, and how what is the internal feeling, the root cause of that feeling behind it.
yeah. Sure. Raja, what I meant was, see, we say speech is your reflection. When it comes to your thoughts, we use speech to be a reflective of what we are thinking. The reason why I made that statement was when you said that I find a colleague or I find a co-partner who is doing better than me. Your reaction was, why am I not able to do it? So that why is where your awareness is all about. Now you're questioning your capability, you're questioning your competence, you're questioning that what could I do next to make it better? So the first process of being aware is not jealousy. Now, jealousy is where the person would not logically look at the why part of it. He is just not, he just doesn't want that to happen. So he is blindly kind of averse to that particular person. He doesn't know why. That's it. So he's not a question which is asking himself. Now I know that is possible and I know I can make it happen. Now, why? That gap is what is really making a big difference. And that's where your EQ is developed. So this is a good example, Raza. So had I been in a very raw state, it would have been a very jealousy thing. It would have been jealous, just as blind. I mean, you would have seen a lot of movies, a lot of things happening. Most of the things do happen that way, where we are not able to recognize, understand, and then we react. So when you have it without understanding and recognizing it, reaction is raw jealousy coming in. Yeah. Yes. Yes, Patel, you want to share something?
Uh, yes, Dr. Badrinath. Probably one emotion here, sadness is something.
Mm,
The recent High Court order in Delhi
right.
about the stray dogs. I being a pet lover,
Mm,
I felt a lot of sadness for that.
mm,
Because of no fault of the animals
mm,
and the administration at fault. Uh,
mm,
they are being pushed, without any proper planning, about
right.
shelters, and they would be
Mm,
culled eventually, uh,
mm,
of no fault of theirs, because
mm,
the administration failed to do their job. Now
right.
we have reached at a stage, which is also important. I understand that the people on the street, who live on the streets, their life is at stake, and we have seen a lot of instances where dogs have attacked,
Mm,
in some cases, small kids, and brutally wounded and killed in certain instances.
right.
So I understand that aspect of it, but yes, it's a collective failure as a
Mm,
community, and
yeah,
they have to bear the brunt for of no fault of theirs.
sure. I understand that. Yes, welcome Jacob, welcome Amanullah. Good to have you guys. So we were just discussing on emotions. So we were just looking at this primary emotion, 8 numbers which you see on the screen. Now we are looking at, are you able to give me an example of how you would have, maybe give me an instance where you have gone through this particular emotion? What, Jacob? Would you like to do that? Amanullah, you could do it one.
Well, I just walked in. Hi, a
Yeah.
very good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
Yasin, Patel, Badri, and the others. It's a nice initiative that you all have taken to cover on this hybrid
Thanks. Yeah.
emotional intelligence related discussions. Well, I would suggest, I would say that if you talk about sadness, I think that somewhere we need to identify that it is important that we need to realize, first of all, why are we sad for?
Mm.
That is the first thing we need to identify. And then accordingly, we need to look at what are the options. Today, many people, when they are undergoing this kind of a temporary sadness feeling, it
Mm.
multiplies rather than actually looking at somewhere arresting it.
Mm.
And they live into that world of sadness, and then they get into the isolation form, and then it ends up in all kinds of the other things that we talk about. So
Right.
somewhere we need to arrest that. And for that, self-awareness is most important part. Because only
Right.
when you're self-aware, it's only then that you can look at what are the options available and what cautions can be taken to ensure that you can be happy.
Right.
So the only mantra out here for me, whenever I go about in this kind of situation, I always
Mm.
think about that I am possible. That means
Mm.
it is about making it possible. So nothing is
Mm.
impossible. That is what it
Right.
is. So it is important that we need to look at the options rather than thinking this is the end of life.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you, Jacob. Amanullah, you
Welcome.
would like to contribute something here? I know you came in between, but it's fine.
Yeah, thank you, Vidna. Thanks for having me, and good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah.
So, from my side, I wanted to pick that, the fear,
Mm.
right? So, what drives the fear? Okay, it
Mm.
may be your personal life or your professional life, right?
Mm.
So, in the professional life, most of the time you go through a fear of failure. Okay, this fear of failure always going to stop you from taking any new challenges, and it is a barrier or a
Mm.
roadblock to achieve what you wanted to do. But somehow
Right.
it push you back, and
Mm.
you keep on procrastinating, right?
Mm.
So whenever you in self-doubt and fear of failure, right? So I would always suggest to do, look out for some, achievement, okay? Or look out for, or listen from leaders.
Mm.
And recently, I also start doing the practices. I start watching all, big people who reach their level. Recently, also, it happened to, listen to our superstar Rajnikant. He
Okay.
talked about his initial struggles, and he's still learning to, though he reached a level, right? He
Mm.
got the fame and everything, but he's still doing. But fear, according to me, look out for some motivation, or look out for some failure, or a study of some of the successes that will take you to the next level.
Sure.
I hope I contributed as you expected,
Sure, sure.
Badri. Thank you.
See, the whole idea of virtuality, virtual training is interaction, and all of us have come with a lot of experiences. So whatever you say is true because it's a truth you have seen, and there's nothing to defy, there's nothing to question it.
Thank you.
Now, I mean, I keep saying this, we are all like the 8 blind men finding the elephant. So all of us are right, unless until we understand that we are one, we are blind. Two, we need to come together to put it together so that we see the elephant. So that's what we are trying to do. What do you think, Raza? Am I right? Jacob? So this is all about it. So yeah, every experience, everything we see, we experience is true. There's nothing to defy it. Now the question is how to put it together to make it happen. Now, with that perspective, now these are the primary emotions. Now, if you look at any feeling we define, we talk about 2 parameters. One is it pleasant or is it intense? So with that paradigm, we have got 4 kind of expressions happening. It could be unpleasant or it could be pleasant. It could be mild or it could be intense. Now look at all these emotions being played depending on the variation of your intensity and the feeling you're connected with. That's how you end up giving different shades to it. Now, I'm just giving you a simple structure here where we say, if it's mild, how do you go about? If it is intense, what is it labeled as? Now, question is, like Amanullah talked about and Jacob also talked about, before you question the why, I want you to think about this particular statement. The design itself is a creator of challenges. The design itself is a creator of challenges. Now, Patil did mention about the dog scenario in Delhi and the kind of approach we have. Look at me. I'm trying to tell you, everything is designed, and the design is creating these challenges. So if you really look at it, most often not, whatever we are experiencing, whatever we are facing, are something which is design oriented. We are designed to be that way. We are designed to experience that way. Now, once you are matured enough, once you are EQ aside, then you understand the design part of it and say how those design are creating these kind of challenges and how do you mitigate. So this Yuki actually gives you into that spot. Now we have just looked at this element of saying that two elements, one is being pleasant, unpleasant, mild and intense. So all of emotions can be actually rated based on these four combinations. And that's how
Hey,
you,
Raji.
yes, Jacob. Jacob, you wanted to say something?
No, actually, I was talking to one of my colleagues. Just
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, good enough. Okay, good. So now that we have understood that, let's take a look at little step, because since we are running short of time and looking at a capsule, what we are looking at, I just put up few things. The four elements which you talk about: awareness, regulation, and of course, looking at your empathy part of it, and also how do you understand the other person's emotion and your social skills. These are the four elements as given by Goldman. We are looking at them. So how do you improve your self-awareness? One, ask for constructive feedback. This is something which we are scared. We are never comfortable asking for feedback. And we make a mistake for asking feedback with people who are going to speak what we want to hear. So that is that's something which we need to avoid. We should make an effort to go to a third party who can be objective, and he could give me actually a good feedback. I mean, take it with whatever he says, because that's a perception. That's another view of looking at it. So it's something which you can consider. Again, you should be good enough to say whether you want to accept it, not accept it. Don't be reactive there. And then keep a journal. Journaling is very important, the way you go through. Keep your emotions so that you're able to understand the trigger. We said define, recognize, understand. So recognizing is very easy. Sometimes we can label it, but understanding is difficult. So go deeper to ask a question. What are those triggers which are actually triggering that particular emotion? Learn new skills. That's what is going to keep you involved, keep you much get you matured. So the more skill you have, the perspective is different. That's how I see eight blind men coming together. So you create one blind, open his eyes. That's good enough. So this skill will also create. Meditate is what we need to, and pay attention to your thoughts and emotion. This is something which I would always say. Are you self-aware? Aware is like you have a camera of yourself looking at, observing you every moment, everything, every emotion, every physical moment. So you literally are able to get a whole picture of how each trigger is working and how is it reacting to. Pursue your passion. This is what will keep you good. Practice mindfulness. It's easier said than done, because a mental design is so that you always you're a monkey in your mind, and you always have a chatter happening, so you can't stop it. So being mindful is being that moment. It's very difficult because today now we are listening, we are speaking. Trust me, there are hazard thoughts going in your mind, hazard things in front of you. We are all trying to manage everything. We are trying to say, can I justify my existence? That's a kind of challenge. So be mindful about it. Reflect on your experiences, set goals, use positive talk, and work on a building growth mindset. This is very, very important. Now, this is as far as self-awareness is concerned. When it comes to regulation, be mindful of your thoughts and feeling. Build distress tolerance skills, because this is something which we need to do today, given today's scenario. Find ways to manage difficult emotion. Look at challenges and as opportunities. And again, as Raza gave an example, I am jealous, but I'm asking a question, why am I jealous? Why can't I be better? So that is what it is. Now, challenge posed in front of you, look at it as an opportunity. Practice communications, recognize that you have a choice in how you respond. This is very, very important, which Raza did make a big point in the beginning. And also use cognitive reframing to change thought patterns. This is very, very conscious. We need to really make an effort in trying to reframe our whole process, the way we think, and also work on accepting your emotion. The moment you accept the way you are, trust me, half your problem is solved. Now, the last part is, how do I improve social skills? Now, we talked about feedback in a similar manner. Look at asking open-ended questions, notice other people's social skill, practice good eye contact, practice your social skill. Active listening is very important. Again, easy said, but difficult to do. And of course, show interest in others. and watch your body language. These are the few of the things which can be done to improve your social skills. Now, kind of concluding here. Now, how do I strengthen my skill as a leader? This is something which I picked up from Harvard review book. So he says journaling. So can we actually do it? Is it very, very important? How do it? How do you observe yourself? This is something, again, as a practice, we need to talk about journalism. Undergo a 360-degree assessment, which means that ask people around you what they feel about you, how do they perceive you, so that we are able to get a good perspective of what you are and how you react. Because I think I'm a very patient person, but ask my wife, she will have a different opinion. Ask my son, they'll have a different opinion. They are my testers. Now, the question is, what did I think patience was? Because internally, I'm looking at the kind of sacrifice I'm doing to be patient, to hold on to my feelings, giving my urge, but not giving out. That's what I think patient. But they think the end result is out, boss. That's how it is. And you're still not patient. So you literally have a big gap which you need to fill in. And that really helps you. And of course, practice active listening. Pay attention to your emotions. This is very, very important. That's the first thing when we say EI, recognition is very important. Are you able to recognize your emotion first to start with? And then, of course, take online course or training. We say that maybe more interaction, more training, because people are there who could help you out, help you be better emotionally intelligent. This is what we have tried to kind of squeezed in 1 hour's time to get a glimpse of what EQ is all about. Now, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask. And of course, I can always get connected on LinkedIn. You can have your questions. And as I told you, I'm doing my doctoral here in this particular area where I'm working on subjects like EQ, employee engagement, spiritual quotient or spiritual leadership, and of course, and performance. These are a few elements which I'm working on. Please feel free to connect with me. Of course, any questions from you guys, I'm free to. I'm glad to answer that. Here's Jacob, Amanullah, Raza.
No question at this point, Badri. And thank you for your time. And thanks for taking time and giving
Thank
your
you.
insights. And if anything, I will connect through the LinkedIn.
Sure. Of course, with Skillme, we have these kind of program happening, and we also would have a lot of interaction. We have a lot of intervention with corporates. So we cover functional skills too, and also we look at behavioral part. We are also kind of doing good in leadership. So I think today leadership is a challenge. Leadership needs to be taken care of because end of the day, as I said, design starts there. If you have a good leader, design is done right, and you have everything working good. So with the given the environment today, given the kind of should I say uh, kind of dynamism and volatility we have, it is very, very difficult. And having a good leader is very important. And somehow today, one of the challenges is what we have is we want every youngster to be a leader very fast. But somehow the question comes in, is he capable? Is he mature enough to take a big, big responsibility? Well, they will do it. It's not that they won't do it, but the kind of collateral damage created are going to be a bit high. And we start a process on firefighting. So instead of going through all this process, can we design something good? So with that perspective, you could always get connected with us. We could help you out, make a better organization and a better, should I say, future for your companies. Yes, Patil. So over to you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you, Jacob.
Thank you, Dr. Badrinath, for
Yeah.
such an insightful session, on emotional intelligence. So obviously your insights and experiences has given us a lot to reflect on and apply in our work environment, what we live in. So on behalf of Skillemme, I would also like to thank each one of you for your active participation today. So we truly believe that learning is a journey, and today's session is one more step towards building stronger, more connected, and more emotionally intelligent teams. So we encourage you to stay connected with us through our website www.skillemme.com. You can follow us on our LinkedIn page as well, Skillemme, Skillemme. So we'll be posting all these sessions. So this session also will be posting it on LinkedIn, so you can view it. People who have missed the starting part of the session, right? So we look forward to seeing you in the upcoming sessions. Have a wonderful day ahead. So thank you, Dr. Badrinath.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much,
guys.
Badri,
Thank you,
and thank you
Jalil.
so much, Patil, for
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
organizing
you.
it. Yeah, take
Good
care.
day.
Bye bye.
Good day. Bye.